Okay.
Don't you need to start the LinkedIn event as well? Because I'm sitting over there and it says starting soon.
Ew, really? You
Well,
have
I'm
to do it
looking
in
at
both
it.
places?
I don't know. I'm just looking at it
No,
now.
it should automatically start.
Okay,
I
right.
mean, we've already got a comment from Merrill, so I guess he's got to see it somewhere.
Well,
It
it says
says,
it's live. People are probably watching this. So it does say it's live
We're
on
figuring it
my
out.
here
YouTube.
we go. It's gone. It's working. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, you do hear me on that one. I'm going to mute myself over here.
Yep. Okay. Yes, I see it. It's live. 5 people. Okay.
That's it. Yep.
Hey, everyone. So, how can you tell it's your first time doing a former LinkedIn audio, now LinkedIn live stream by 3 people literally going, is it live? Is it live? Is it working? Can they see us? Can they hear us? So here's what I need y'all to do. I need you to take a moment. I need you to put in the comments that you can see my crazy bun and that you can see our crazy selves and that you can tell us where you're from. And of course, big thing, making sure that you are connecting. So, of course, our biggest cheerleader, Meryl, is in the audience. Thank you, Meryl. Thank you so much for leading this and keeping us and being our supporter. So, yeah, we're going to see how this goes and get started. So, if this is the first time you've ever joined us, is that Memorex videotape. Haha, I got you there, Meryl. So, but yes, if you have never watched us before or tuned in when we were doing audio rooms, this is LinkedIn 101, becoming a LinkedIn rock star. So, and we're going to do our normal introductions. It's slightly different because you see us on screen, obviously. So there's the big difference there. So
Feels a little weird.
It feels a little weird, not gonna lie, because there's some safety behind the, just holding my phone and walking around the house. I've got to stay seated. So yeah, let's just start this and we'll jump. Yeah, it does feel a little weird, but we're gonna get our groove back. Okay. So this is our first one, LinkedIn 101 for the new year. So happy New Year to everyone. And I'm going to start with Roy. Roy, please introduce yourself. Pass the mic over to Shell. And I guess I can still say that. And then I'll introduce myself and we'll get going.
Thanks so much, Mel and Shell, and Happy New Year to everyone. I don't think we've had a LinkedIn audio, well, a LinkedIn Live, now that we're calling it LinkedIn Lives, in the new year. And yes, this video thing is really, it's next level stuff. So all the things that we asked LinkedIn to do, they didn't do, and now we can use it via Restream and StreamYard, and that makes sense. So my name is Roy Kowarski, and Meryl, thank you so much for noticing my shirt. I call myself a promotional product disruptor, and the reason that I do that is because the word disruptor kind of sits well with me. And so many people have commented about that word. It kind of jumps out and describes what you do. And that's what I do, is I assist small to medium-sized companies through the experience of working with Fortune 500 companies with their branding and their marketing, to get seen, heard, and remembered. Use targeted promotional products with strategies to be able to assist them. My signature product is called a video brochure. Now, in this kind of scenario, I won't do it now. I could actually physically show you what a video brochure was. And that's the beauty of video. So I utilize these video brochures to get conversations started. My ideal clients are companies that are struggling to get conversations going with their dream clients. My name is Roy, and I'm out.
Thank you, Roy. It's a little weird for me to unmute myself over here now because I'm so used to doing it in the other capacity. for anyone who doesn't already know, I'm Shell, your LinkedIn cheerleader. You can see that right there on the screen, which I don't think you could see before when we were doing audio events. So I am a LinkedIn engagement specialist, and what that means is that I help people engage better on the platform. That means anything from helping you feel more confident to show up, helping you feel more excited about finding more and having more conversations that matter to you. Uh, any way, shape, or form that I can encourage you to show up and do more of the thing and talk to more people about what it is that you're doing, that's what I'm here to help you do. So I'm excited for tonight's conversation. Mel, back over to you. Uh, I can say in the studio, right? Because kind of
Yes,
like we're news anchors
our
now.
studio. So, and Shell, for your FY, I'm just going to answer your question. Click on the actual to join, but you don't have to join to see the chat. If that makes sense. Can you not? And so, if you scroll down, you should see the chat. So, hopefully, I think. Hopefully. So, I'm going to try to do that. I'm trying to do two things at once, which we all know does not necessarily work for me. So I'm going to put my phone down. Like I said, we're going to figure this out. We're going to get our groove back. But Happy New Year. Yes, I see Adrian. I see Gregory, LaShonda, Meryl. If you're watching, please let us know, because that's going to help more people, invite more people to this. We opted to do this option. We went back and forth, to be very honest with you. We were weighing our options on what was best for what we felt like our community, and continuing to build that community. So we are excited because there are going to be opportunities for us to share our screens and be able to show how we do certain things. And we're going to play around with it. We just got to find, like I said, we got to find our group. But tonight, our conversation was about, I wanted to have a conversation tonight about creating a schedule for LinkedIn that works for you. I think that is really important, because there's so much, I don't want to call it misinformation out there, but a lot of experts you hear a lot of things that a lot of experts say to do, or maybe they're not saying anymore, but it's still so much out there. And so one of the things I wanted to do was, and I know we've shared this in the past, but really, are you Roy or Shell, jump in at any time, just we'll have an open conversation. Are you guys doing anything different this year with your schedule than you did last year? And then share a little bit about how you determine, what is your posting schedule? What is your engagement schedule? Things along those lines.
Roy, you want to jump in first here?
Ladies first, they say.
Okay. Well, so one of the things that is going to be, I think, a really big thing for me is more consistency. I did not really have a posting schedule last year. It was something that I kind of in 2023, especially, so going back even further, that I was just like, all right, I'll post when I feel it. I didn't want to commit to posting on a certain schedule or showing up at a certain time, because life and things happen, and I couldn't always commit to that. So this year, I do want to be more intentional with when and how I show up, and that way my audience hopefully gets to know and get used to, all right, Shell's going to post at this time, or we can expect that she's going to be more active around this time, and this is the best time to engage with her if we want a more immediate response. So it also ties into my boundaries a little bit more too, so that people don't expect a response from me at any given time. And I think I do a pretty good job of letting people know, hey, I may not respond to you right away, but I'll get back to you in a timely manner. But I want that to be transparent, even in the way that I post and show up. So to long story short, because I don't tell short stories, right? My posting schedule in 2025 is going to hopefully show that I'm more consistent with it. And even this week alone, I have posted almost every single day. Now I'm still figuring out the timing that works for me. I have done a better job of blocking my schedule to make sure that post goes out I think over the next few weeks, I'll solidify that of like, yes, I am going to be posting specifically between this time and this time, and the best engagement you're going to get from me all day is going to be from here to here. And I'll still be available outside of that, but here's where I'm really going to thrive. And so I right now I'm trying to show up and figure out what consistency looks like. That's the long and short of it. So I don't know the days and times yet, but I'm working on it actively, and we'll let you know next week. Roy, what are your thoughts over there?
Well, this is the beauty of video, is I can say one thing, but I can actually show you something else. So this was my plan for 2024. And what I'll be doing this weekend is looking at the plan and seeing what needs to change. And the approach that I'm going to be taking, which I take every single year, is what worked, what was something that didn't work 100%, and what didn't work at all. And that's a good starting point. Why would I want to change my beach videos on a Saturday? I have a huge following. People send me direct messages to say, I read this today, it's changed my week, and so on. And when I go to meetings in the city and I stand at the elevator or the stairs, somebody will say to me, "Aren't you the guy that does the videos on Saturday?" So why would I change that? So what I categorize is I categorize what am I not going to change, and what am I considering changing, and what should I change definitely. Now, how I go about this process is I go and I've been watching over the last, literally since like mid-December until now, because I haven't started my new content strategy. We'll be starting on Monday. And what I do is I've gone and looked at influencers like Brenda Miller. She gave some incredible advice about how you should approach your content strategy. I followed with a whole lot of content from Kevin Turner, and so I listened to what what is going on, and that's how I work out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. But the important thing when you're looking at a new, I'm talking about for me, and I'm hoping that this can help some people, is to be able to be open-minded and being ultra critical of yourself, because that's the key. Is we all know the things that work, but the things that don't work, we've got to be honest with ourselves, and we've got to say that did not work. Like polls don't work for me. That's it. I've tried them. They don't work for me. So I'm not going to do polls. I might do one or two a year, or whatever it might be. So I have absolutely laser focused on what I want to achieve. Now, here's the last piece that I'm going to share. Shell, I'm a little bit longer than you today. How's that? So my keyword for 2025 is collaboration. So included in my content strategy is going to be a section that focuses on how I'm going to find new strategic partners, that I can work with to our mutual benefit. Now, let's define mutual benefit. Mutual benefit isn't that person that sends you the DM to say, "I have got the most incredible thing that will change your business. Let me share it with you because this will benefit us mutually." Well, guess what? That benefits them, doesn't benefit me. So my take on mutual benefit is, what can I do to help you, and what can you do to help me? And I lead with this question. I don't lead with, "This is how I can help you." I lead with the question, what is it that I can do to help you in your business? And when you tell me that, I'll be able to tell you what I need from you. So that is mutually beneficial for me. So that's where my content strategy is in place. My engagement strategy will not change. I still stick with it for every 1 hour of LinkedIn content, 15 minutes for content creation, and 45 minutes for engagement. But I'm going to be more strategic in who I engage with. So as you can hear, I've got a pretty consistent or pretty collaborative plan ahead of me. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. My name is Roy, and I'm out.
So, first of all, yeah, we have to have the beach videos because how else do I get a piece of Australia other than through you every single day of the week? Okay, I mean, come on. Secondly, what I will say is I fully agree with Roy in terms of sticking with what is working for you because, and I think this is an important example of that we need to test and play around with things that work because while polls don't work for Roy, and I know that Shell does not have a love of polls either, they do work for me. I do actually get a lot of engagement from polls. It's a great way for me to get connected with my audience. It's a great way for me to take that to the next step. And I see them, like, for example, if I do a LinkedIn poll on a Monday, and then I'm going to talk to you about what happened this week. So, if I do a LinkedIn poll on a Monday, which has usually been my schedule, I will, once that poll closes the next Monday, I usually go and look at who voted, see what their responses are, and then I'll send them like, hey, if you want more help, come to LinkedIn 101. If it's a career poll, I will be like, hey, you can come to Career Coaches, or I might invite them to LinkedIn Mastery. So I have what I call like what from a business standpoint, my funnel in terms of interacting. If it's somebody that I haven't heard from in a while, hey, thanks for voting on my poll. How are you doing? Simple conversation. So I'm taking that conversation from a vote on a poll to behind the scenes and creating conversation on the back end. So for me, polls do work. But even if you haven't tried a poll, for example, and it's related to your field, and regardless if you get 10 votes or if you get 100 votes, you've still got conversations you can have. So I usually, my schedule is pretty specific. It was polls on Monday. Tuesdays were open. I am committing this year to doing video on Wednesdays. Is going to be like doing some sort of video. So I am like putting that officially into the schedule. Thursdays is my newsletter. Friday, trying to focus more on something like inspirational or personal, of like, a cute cat picture, because why not? I'm all for, being stage mom to him. And for those that don't know, my cat's Mr. Simpson. And so, I'm all for, promoting him. And, and then I get into a rotation because I do have 3 audio rooms that I do. Now, I rotate my hosting duties with LinkedIn Mastery, so I don't have to post about that every single week. This one and my Career Coaches one, I do post about. But it's tied to what I do. And so I make it tied to what I do. So fast forward to the new year. Had somebody that was like, hey, rethink your, you might want to rethink your content schedule, open up some more time in your day, right? So I was like, okay, maybe we'll move the newsletter to every 2 weeks. And I try to post of like, where am I at? Well, I messed up my schedule and I didn't post like, basically I was host for LinkedIn Mastery this week. I had LinkedIn 101 and Career Coaches all coming back in the same week. So I know I have to scatter that from like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I totally messed up my schedule. I did a poll on a Tuesday. Then I really realized what Roy said. My newsletter really is like my heart and soul. I love my newsletter. I really don't see it as a burden to do it every single week. And in fact, I was going back through some of my older newsletters because this past couple of weeks I'm seeing the engagement. I had one newsletter, I didn't even realize it because that's how I don't even get caught up in the metrics of it. Sometimes I had over 60 likes on it. That's high for a newsletter. And the reality is that is also driving, and even today's newsletter drove a lot of like conversation. And I had a very specific call to action. It was about my word of the year, which is focus. And I'm being very specific about focusing on my goals and staying focused on my personal and professional goals. And so I really realized this week I felt scattered. I felt like I was all over the place. So I realized today and then Roy saying this, why mess with what's working? I'm like, yeah, you know what I did? I messed with what's working. So next week we're back on track, folks. Okay, we're back on track because I messed with what's working and it messed with my schedule. And it did not feel right. And it's not about trying something new or doing anything different. It literally was just like, I wrote this newsletter and I was like, I'm not giving this up every 2 weeks. This is driving conversations. Now, I want to give one point and then we're going to talk about engagement, because engagement is just as important as content. But I do want to say, if you're watching, I'd love for you to add a comment. Tell us, do you have a schedule of how you, whether it's engagement or content, yes or no, do you have a schedule that you stick to for your content or engagement? And if you want to give us more details, that's great, because we still want this to be a learning experience for everybody. That is really what we try to do. Why we do this, I'm going to call it a room. It's just because I don't know anything else. But why we do this is because we want you guys to learn from not only what we do, but also our mistakes and things that we sometimes really F up and like do things that we're like, oh, why did I do that? So Roy, thank you. You reiterated, if it's not broke, why am I trying to fix it? And you reiterated that you didn't know you were going to do it, but you did. So let me ask you this. Go ahead, Roy.
I want to just add one thing to what you said, because it is so important. Everyone's strategy is going to be different to somebody else. Embrace your own uniqueness. Do what works for you. Don't look across your shoulder and say, oh, Mel's doing a weekly newsletter. I need to do a weekly. No, you don't need to do a weekly newsletter. I do a monthly newsletter. Why do I do a monthly newsletter? Because I don't have the time to do one every week. And guess what? People follow that monthly newsletter. So work out what works for you. And if it means posting 3 times a week, then post 3 times a week. If it means posting once a week, then post once a week. But let me ask Mel and Shel, and this is probably the most important thing. What do you, the two of you, believe is a reasonable starting point for the amount of days to post content? Love to hear the two of your views on this.
I'll go first. And I want to also say something here too, that this is so important what Roy said. And this is what somebody asked me recently. Well, why should anybody listen to what you and Shel have to say about LinkedIn? And I said, here's the reality. We're very realistic. Life gets in the way. Life gets in the way for us. Okay. maybe we're too real for people, but here's the reality is, we're not going to tell you the same things you keep. Some of the things we will, because they're things that work. But the one thing that makes this unique is that all 3 of us have this agreement. All 3 of us do something different and it works. So you need to do what Roy said and what works for you. Now, to that being said, I think if you've never created content before, I want to encourage you to do 1 post. So one thing that I'm going to try to do with my newsletter, and I did this, and to your point, Roy, as an example, is I encourage people. I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to share this newsletter, and I want you to share your word of 2025. Share it share it out with your audience. So I'm hopefully going to give, even if it's career related, some sort of prompt or a challenge for people to create content off of that week's topic. So at least if you've never created content, I want you to try 1 post a week for 30 days. Okay. Or for the month, so I guess you could do it 30 days. That'd be a lot of months. I can't do the math. I ideally would say a minimum of 2, because one's going to be hard to build momentum. 2 can actually build momentum. Shel, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so before I get into my thoughts, recap. What is your one tip is for them to post once a week?
If you've never created content, if you're scared to, for whatever reason, scared to create that content, at least once a week. I'd
Okay.
ideally would like to see. I think two helps you build momentum. You're gonna need some momentum with the algorithm.
Okay. So I'm going to baby step it even more because I'll be honest, I see a lot of people that aren't even ready to post. And so my entry point into that and what I tell a lot of my clients because what I hear a lot is that they don't think that they have anything worth saying that hasn't already been said 100 other ways. So how are they going to say something different or be seen? So my entry point for this and to build that momentum in the first place or to even start realizing that you have something worth saying. And yes, I'm playing with a fidget toy as I talk about this because my hands always need to be doing something. Um, is to engage on at least one post a week. If you're not comfortable posting or sharing your own content yet, that is my starting point for you. I want you to get comfortable having the conversation. Comment on somebody's post in your wheelhouse or adjacent to your area of expertise. Because then you know what's going to happen there. One, when people come to when they see that comment on somebody's post, they're going to be like, oh, let me go check out what Kendra said on this. Let me go check out what Ryan had to say. Let me go see what else they're talking about, what they're doing. Yes, I'm pulling people's names from the chat over here because I love what they're saying and things that people are sharing here. But like that's going to prompt conversation. That's going to prompt more interest. They're going to go see what you're saying on somebody's post and they're going to go check you out. You know what they're going to see when they look at your activity? Now they're not going to see a blank space where you haven't posted content in 90 days or more. They're going to see your activity. They're going to start seeing your other related comments. So if you can start with commenting at least once a week in your wheelhouse, people are going to start to notice that, and it's going to, and on the back end of that, it's going to create this cyclical effect of like, oh, I do have something to say that people are wanting to hear more of. And you could even take your comments and repost them with those posts as their own content, whether you repost the original post and then add your thoughts and take that comment and turn it into a post, or if you just take your comment natively and make it a post of its own, not tied to that original author. It doesn't matter. The point is that you're starting to have the conversations that you want to be part of. You're starting to generate the interest. And the more that you do that, whether you're posting on your own or starting on somebody else's post, it's still a gateway to more conversations. So to Mel's point of try to post once a week, love that. But if you're even not there yet and you need a little bit more nourishing and nudging to get there, start even before that and engage on somebody's post once a week in either area. That's all we're asking. Back over to you guys.
I wonder if I could, sorry, I wonder if I could maybe just amplify one aspect of this, and that is number one is have a plan, whatever it might be. But say to yourself, if so, so I've been talking about somebody that's, that's kind of, posting on a reasonably regular basis. If you're starting out from scratch, say to yourself, do I want to plan? Number two, whatever you do it with consistency. That is the key word. You can see the two ladies, my two very good friends, nodding their heads very, very eagerly. Consistency is the key. And what that means is if you're going to post once a week, then post once a week on that Monday at 8:30 in the morning. Then do it next week, Monday, 8:30 in the morning. And so you carry on. If you're going to only engage with people, then make sure that you do this on a consistent basis. I did see Gregory's comments. He said, I post when I see something to repost, or if I need to rant on something, I post then and there. Now, I'm going to say this, and Gregory, this is absolutely no disrespect to you in any way whatsoever. I'm going to say that that is inconsistent. And what that does, and I'm talking from experience, I used to wake up in the morning and say, today's the day. I'm posting today. And then I'd say, here's what I can offer you. This is fantastic. You must try this. There's my engagement I got. You can see that? 0. Until I changed my mindset to post consistently. And as I say, consistently does not mean 7 times a week. And then I also saw Christy put in the chat, and I'd love to hear from Mel and Shell. She said, I post in the morning and the afternoons. And my understanding, and please, I'm going to throw it straight back to the two of you, is that posting more than once a day harms one of your posts, yay or nay?
So before I answer that, I'm gonna make sure our ratings, our fake ratings for our fake show go up high and let you all know Mr. Simpson's here. Say hi, buddy. Oh, I dropped you. I'm sorry. Okay, there you go. He's like, Mom, yeah, there you are, right there on the camera, buddy. Say hi. You gonna say hi? Okay, good job, buddy.
There we go. He's speaking to us.
He's like, okay.
Make sure to give this event a heart or a thumbs up or a support or something, because
we need some likes. Okay, make sure you're you can do that. So because he's our quote unquote our ratings booster. So and there's the ratings, but good job, buddy. So technically, I do think that the statistics show that your post will get dinged if you are not if you're double posting, basically. Now, big time users do double post, like the Gary Vaynerchuk's. He posts like crazy. There's some others that I can't think of right off the top of my head, but they also have like millions of followers and stuff like that. So their time zones are definitely very different. So they've got audiences in different time zones. So I do think you have to be mindful of how, like, I would say the average person does need to be mindful. Now, the other day, for example, I did have this problem because I created a post. I don't even know what it was. It didn't do anything. And I needed to create, I think it was this event. And I was like, screw it. I'll create this event. Like the other post, like, I don't even remember what I posted. But occasionally I will, like, if it's an event like this, I double posted on those days just because I needed to get all my events posted. So which, people that are regulars know, because I'm like, we're alive, we're ready, here you go, here's the link. That's when I've created all the events. But that being said, I think the average person needs to be mindful of it, but also test it out and see what happens. I think you can test it out once occasionally and see what happens. Because if you're getting a lot more likes and comments in the morning than you do the afternoon, that's a good indicator. That's when your audience is most likely live. So that's a good indicator of, like, that's when you should be probably putting out your content. In general, I know that my content does well at 9:30. Between 9 and 9:30 is like my sweet spot. If I go too far in the afternoon, forget about it. It will not do anything. It will not, it will die. And so that I have picked up on, and it's not a perfect test. I haven't literally sat there and go, what day did you post? What time? It's just observations of when I know I've changed up the time that I've posted something, that it doesn't do well. Sometimes, again, it's my life and my schedule, and I'm like, oh shoot, I got to get this post up. So because it's an event and I want certain amount of time before that event comes up. So like if it's a Tuesday event, because when you create an event, you have to create a post that goes with that event. So for those that have never created an event, so it creates an automatic post. So I don't care too much if that happens. For me personally, I don't care if I double post on that, but I think you have to try it out and see what happens.
Yeah. For me, when I connected on specifically regarding this event, when I connected my LinkedIn profile to this event, it sent out another post. I've already posted for the day. So now technically I've posted twice, but like 3 times because I'm also tied to the original event post. So is that going to ding me because I've posted now theoretically 3 times in one day, even if like two happened automatically? I don't really know, but like one thing that I've noticed from like other creators, um, like bigger names, like the Jasmines, and the Richard Vanderblums, that they one of the things that they had shared on some of their lives was that they repost a previous post before a new one comes out. And then they go and delete that repost later on, but that helps propel LinkedIn showing their content so that the audience is still warmed up when that new post comes out. So I think there's something here to be said, going back to what Roy said earlier, like you need to take some time to test and like figure out what works for you, because what works for me, what works for Roy, what works for Mel, may not work for you and your audience. Like ironically, my most engaged audience is on Sundays. I do not want to be on LinkedIn on Sundays, but that's when my posts get the most engagement. So I'll be damned if I'm not going to post on LinkedIn and take advantage of that. Who knows? You got to figure out what works for you and your audience.
Yeah, you gotta. I think you definitely have to
Is
play
it
around with it. Um, I know there's like, and the repost thing is something also. I think also I know, and I want to give a shout out to Christy because Christy is an amazing supporter and reposts like she reposts our events. So I don't want to be like, um, so I do think reposts do get treated differently. Well, we know they get treated differently. We know that you have to add something to it, and things like that. So how it all, I think it's advised that you do like I think and I'm going to say the average person, because there are some, again, big time users. They've got millions of followers. They're posting like 5 times a day, but they're not really posting. I mean, they've got an assistant that's posting this, or it's automatic. I mean, it's scheduled, it's whatever. Most people don't have that much content to share on any given. I mean, Lord, I mean, technically, I guess I have enough topics saved up in all of my files that I probably could, but I'm working on 1,001 things. So, um, but
can I
oh
maybe
yeah, go ahead.
so Merrill asked a question in the chat, and he said, "Is it true that if you both comment and like a post, it gets dinged by the algorithm?" So I'm going to start off by saying that if you're liking and commenting on a post, there's no ways that the algorithm will penalize you. But here's the thing: if you are going to comment, you got to do a meaningful comment. It's no good saying "great post," "love your work," "love this." That is a hopeless waste of time. And here's another thing: if you're gonna comment on people's posts, think about this. When you say, "Mel, I love this aspect about what you mentioned, this and this and this and whatever you," and you finish with a full stop, what you're actually saying is, "Stop. No reason for you to engage any further." But at the end of my comment, if I say to Mel, "I thought that this may be interesting. Do you think this could work?" Question mark. You're giving yourself the opportunity for a conversation. A full stop says, "No, thank you." A question mark says, "Would you like to engage further?"
I love that. I love
And
that.
so here is what we know, and I get this information from Richard Vanderbloom. He's the one that does all this research. How he does it, I don't know. I don't ever want to do it. I don't really get in. Data is hard for me as is, even though I do get kind of geeky about some data things. Once I'm in it, but like how it gets done, I don't need to, like, I'm never going to be that person. So he has said that basically what the test is that comment first, like second. Now, we are Pavlov's dogs, okay? We've been accustomed to social media world where we're in the liking kind of fashion, right? Like we're on Instagram or a Facebook or we're scrolling like, and oh yeah, like. So if it's something that is truly like meaningful and impactful and it's really something you want, like for example, if I see a LinkedIn hiring article, I will take the time to always create what Roy said, a thoughtful comment, because that's where my audience from a career coaching standpoint is. If that is something that I'm very mindful of that and taking that time to curate an actual response to the article itself. So, and I love what Roy said, keep the conversation going, because here's the thing. This is when you are creating, and here's the thing is a lot of people are like, well, I don't create content. I don't create content. You are creating content. You are creating content. And I'm going to tell you why you're creating content. The comments that you're leaving, that's content, folks. It's topic, and what you would actually, if you had this topic at hand, what are you actually saying? What would you say about that topic? That's content. And so one of the things that I'm working on is actually taking, just for everybody's FYI, so you can be on the lookout, so videos that I'm going to do are actually going to take, I went back and I started copying and pasting the question from the old days of collaborative articles, just the question, but taking my response, and now I'm going to start creating videos based on that topic and with my response. Doing this also like Ask Melanie, and I don't know quite the name of it yet, but I got till next Wednesday. And so I'm going to be creating like videos that I get asked this question all the time. Do people need a one-page resume? And it's going to be a quick 30-second, 45-second tip. And that's all the videos are going to be. It's just a quick tip, me answering common questions. And I feel good about that because it's something easy I can do. I mean, today I've had a lot of high level tech successes. I just want to like pat myself on the back. I did this little, I'm pointing to my own camera screen like y'all can see that. But I did the ticker. I did that. I got Shell and Roy in from the back end of the studio. I did that. I did something else too. Oh, I changed Roy's name. I did that. So I'm feeling very like high tech. Oh, Shell, because we have a mutual post coming out tomorrow. Both of us do it at different times. But I used Opus Clips, did the video all by myself. Can I just say that with captions? Did not use my SOS and say, Shell, I don't know how to do this. So I've had a very high tech level kind of day, folks. So I just want to give myself props. But it is the thing that you do, so I get a little overwhelmed with technology. We're not going to say how long I was actually in the Restream like getting ready because I was afraid this wasn't going to go off. So you need to tell people to come back and watch the humor. But that being said, I think it's really, I don't even know what my point was at this point, but I think it's just really important for you to realize you are creating content. And to Roy's point, yes, you want to like, we're trained to like first and then comment. It's a habit you have to break. And I'm going to be honest with you folks. Give me a comment any day over a like. I know that sounds so bad, but if you don't have time, give me a like, okay? So that's my own personal preference.
I just wanted to say that that I've picked that up in Richard van der Blom's report. The last report is comment first and like afterwards, and I've literally schooled and trained myself to do that. And it's just something. But here's another question. In the comments on Restream, it's alongside Gregory's name, it says paired. So how do you reply to that? I'm asking the question because I don't know.
Yeah, so that means he may be watching, if I understand this correctly, he may be watching from a different a different channel. So, like for example, I have this paired out to my Facebook and my YouTube. So I don't remember if I got someplace else, but so if somebody's watching from a different other than LinkedIn, then you can't. It doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't show up that way. I think is the way I understand it. So.
He
Um,
also, because
I
it
just
does
wanted,
show that he's watching from LinkedIn. He
but
may,
it,
because
yes,
I connected mine as well, he may be watching from mine and it's connected to this event.
that could be the case.
but I just wanted to say to Gregory, I don't know how to reply to your comments, so therefore I haven't replied.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So bear with us, folks. But yes, thank you, Meryl, and thank you, Mel Richards. Thanks for also watching. So um, let's see. Is it true? Okay. See, I'm just seeing Meryl's. Is it true? I'm like, oh, I'm answering the question now, Roy. I'm like, I'm catching up. Don't worry about it. So
I've tried to keep up with
thank
the
you,
questions in the
because
comments.
Lord knows we know that Melanie can't keep up with it, right?
So so here's a so here's another tip for this whole LinkedIn Live, which I've learned, and I learned it from America, actually, strange enough, who's also with us, is that um, you need someone that's part of this live, like the three of us are sitting over here. Someone's got to watch the comments, because the comments is where the questions will be and the particular statements. And if you don't, uh, if you don't engage with that, then you might as well be talking to yourself. And so that's the tip that I've picked up, is that somebody needs to follow it. And the way I'm going to do it in my LinkedIn Live rooms, the ones that I run, is I'm going to allocate different people that are the speakers, to have, say, 15 minutes. You watch the comments, and as soon as there's a question over there, interrupt us and tell us what the question is, and then the next person, because otherwise it means one person watches those comments for an hour. You can't, I don't have a brain that can work, in two different places. So that's just a little piece of useless information that I've learned along the
I
road.
don't think it's useless at all. I think it's very helpful.
Yeah,
So, like Melanie said before in the chat, give yourself. She said it to Mel here, to give herself more flowers. But I think you need to give yourself more credit too. I think that tip is very
fair
useful.
enough. So what Meryl's just said in the chat, he says he does not see any of Gregory's comments. So there's something, and I think it could be that, and I don't know,
Yeah.
that Gregory is coming in from another screen, because we cannot see his comments in LinkedIn. I can only see it on the restream comments, and if you're not in restream, you're not going to see that. And there it says paired in the
Yeah,
little
it
blue.
definitely. And he says
I don't
he's
know.
doing it from his tablet, but he's on LinkedIn. I'm thinking it may be if he's watching from Shell's channel, because it's on my personal page. I know that, so I didn't
Well, if Greg,
because I messed up and didn't do
well,
it
if
from
Gregory,
my. I was going to originally do it from my company page, um, and I picked the wrong channel, and so there's a lot of technical stuff that happens with this. Like it's I wasn't a novice to it. Like I've been on the back end of Restream and LinkedIn Lives with the Thought Leadership Branding Club, but it's interesting now. But it's been a while since I've had to do any of that. Like I kind of I was able to pass my duties on, and so I can watch as a guest or I can watch as a viewer, and I can comment as TLB Club and things like that. So I don't have the extra stress of all that. So yeah, so it's very interesting in terms of that, of some of the, and obviously so here's what, as we kind of approach the 7 o'clock hour, and as we kind of are wrapping up. So I want to say a couple of things. One, want to thank everybody that showed up and attended and was watching. We're going to try to make this very interactive as best as possible with questions, having you guys comment. What I'd like to see for next week, I'm just going to ask. You can't get anything unless you ask. Is share this with your friends, share this with people that you feel like could really, benefit from it. Because obviously, we do have a lesser numbers than what we typically have in our audio room. If I'm comparing, and we truly do want to reach as many people as possible, because I think it's so important for people to understand this platform can change the way you okay, he clicked on the video square on Shell's post. So that's why it is. So it'll show paired. He could still be on LinkedIn, but unless it's on my post, that's where it's being hosted from, where Shell paired her channel with this. So that's why. So because he's viewing it from there and commenting on. Technically, he's commenting on Shell's post,
Right.
but because he's on LinkedIn, we can see it.
Yes. So when I ticked it, I ticked not paired. That's why it
Right.
went. Okay. So here's another really, really important thing that I learned from America's room, and that is that as the hosts, we should be sharing the restream link in the comments on LinkedIn. So if anybody wants to join the room, then what they need to do is click on that and they'll go backstage and that can be brought up. But here's the interesting thing that we learned is that you need to do it every 10 or 15 minutes, because if you join 15 minutes into the event, you won't see the first 15 minutes of the comments. So therefore, if you only put the restream link in the literally when you start, the person won't see it. So the way I'm going to do it is every 10 minutes, I'm going to remind people that there is a LinkedIn, there is a Restream or StreamYard link in the chat, in the comments. Please feel free to click it and join us in the backstage. We'll bring you on stage. So that is a very, very important lesson that I learned. And Americo and Kendra, this is where I learned it that
And
particular day.
we are definitely going to do that. This one, I wanted to make sure, like, because obviously we've got Roy in Australia. Shell's just travels back and forth on both coasts. I'm making you sound, you're like, my life is not that exciting.
I wish I traveled more. Anyone got a private plane they want to?
I'm like, I never know which coast she's on. So, I mean, and I'm just in Baltimore, but it's all good. But yeah, that all being said, we are going to do that because we definitely want participation. We are excited because we are going to be able to share our screens and show like live LinkedIn profile reviews, things like that. Wanted to get our feet wet this week, just get us back on track, because this is like literally the first week I had all three of my rooms that I was doing all my regularly scheduled programming. And so that being said, Roy, you don't have LinkedIn Mastery tomorrow, correct? It's not
No, only starting next week.
Okay.
But while you're talking about sharing, the one really, really cool thing that we're going to be able to do is when somebody asks us to look at their profile, we're going to be able to so in other words, we'll be able to share the screen and we'll be able to show their profile on the video. So people will be able to see it there, whereas before we could only talk about it, just like what you've done there now, Mel.
Perfect. So, Shell, you want to share the news of what we got coming up on the 17th?
Sure. Do you want to? Does that QR code go to that, or is that for?
Yes, that will. It is going to cover your face, half of it, just because of the way. But
I'm the one talking, so this makes the most sense. You can just scan the QR code right there. Okay. So next Friday, that's January 17th. At what time did we decide? 1 p.m.
1 p.m. Yes.
Eastern.
1 p.m. Eastern. Yes.
I'm thrown off on the coast. So next Friday, January 17th at 1 p.m. Eastern, Melanie and I are hosting a free LinkedIn Rockstar Academy workshop. This is where you can come join us on Zoom. Registration is required, so if you scan this QR code, it will take you to that registration link. If you have any questions, if you've been wanting to take LinkedIn 101 to the next level and you've been thinking about maybe joining our 6-week cohort, which by the way, we have launching in early February. If you have any questions about what that would entail, what that looks like, what you would get out of working with both of us, which hopefully by now you've seen it as we do this, LinkedIn 101 room almost every week, we encourage you to come and ask your questions. I think this is a valuable way for you to have your questions answered, get more out of the time, and because we are limiting the entry, you get more one-on-one time with us. So we love being able to spend that quality time with you, answer your questions, and hopefully uh, join us in the next round of the LinkedIn Rockstar Academy. And that'll be also related to our post for tomorrow. Hint, hint. So scan the
We're
QR code,
excited.
share it with your friends, and keep an eye out for tomorrow's post.
Mel and Shell, here's a suggestion. What about we share the Restream link with Merrill, and he can just keep adding it in as you go along. No one has to worry about it then.
Aha! See, Meryl, you still have a
Woohoo!
job. I like that. So yes, we will. I like that. That's also the other thing too. We can share it in our chat. We are going to continue the chat, obviously, just to keep you posted on when the event, when it's scheduled, links, things like that. But we can also do that there as well. So definitely. And if you miss a QR code, you can also watch it back on replay, and you can also you can message either one of us if you're interested in talking about the LinkedIn Rockstar Academy. All I'm going to say is, and what we're going to be sharing tomorrow it's truly impactful. It's a truly, honestly, I was moved by what we're going to share. So that's all I'm going to say on that. And so be watching. And yeah, that brings us to the 7 o'clock hour. We did it. We went live in our new little format, in our little new world. We managed it. We survived. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. And just thank you to everybody that continues to support us. And you're going to see us back next week. So be on the lookout for it.
Same LinkedIn 101 time, same LinkedIn 101 station in a new format. And keep an eye out for that Restream link so that you can join us on stage, because we miss having that capability to bring people up with us.
Yes, we are going to do that. I love that idea, Roy. So thank you for being our test, our I was going to say our test bunnies, because Mel Richards literally said you look like a bunny with with your headband. So I was like, thanks for being our test bunnies, which is not a thing. So
It is now.
You can tell I have not eaten dinner yet. So on that note, we're going to wrap it up for the night. Thank you guys again. Stay tuned for next week. And until then, have an amazing day wherever you are in the world.
Bye, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.